In a previous video, I discussed the history of Daniel Marchicello III within New York State docks. The video documented his ascent in the organization along with the overhaul of the Office of Special Investigations. In 2016, Marchicello claimed he would do anything necessary to hold correction officers accountable and said he was not there to make the union happy. Instead, the Office of Special Investigations has endured continued embarrassment and improper and illegal conduct that fails to administer any consequences. Fast forward to December 2024. One DOC's Office of Special Investigations investigator plays a critical role. His name is Ryan Paparella, and he was assigned to investigate the Robert Brooks death. Ultimately, he provided testimony on behalf of the state in an effort to quote unquote red flag and remove firearms from one of the correction officers involved. Investigator Paparella provided a deposition to New York State Police days after the Brooks murder. In this video, we review that deposition. I, Ryan Paparella, am employed as an investigator with the Office of Special Investigations within New York State docks. I am at SP Marcy BCI Barracks, located at 9017 River Road, Marcy, New York 13403. I am speaking with investigator Jennifer Greenwood of the New York State Police in regards to an investigation she is conducting. I have been employed as an investigator within the Office of Special Investigations for approximately 3.5 years. I was previously employed as a correction officer at Marcy Correctional Facility, located at 9000 Old River Road, Marcy, New York 13403, for approximately 5 years. Pause. So we see that this special investigator used to be a corrections officer at Marcy Correctional Facility. So that's going to be very interesting because he's going to know the players involved, you would think. Continue with the deposition. I reviewed the Axon video footage from the body-worn camera of Sergeant Glenn Tromley that was obtained as part of the investigator's Greenwood investigation. I recognized the New York State docks employees in the footage, as I have worked at Marcy Correctional Facility and am familiar with each individual from work interactions and investigations. Pause. So again, this is something very, very interesting. So he is familiar with the correctional officers involved in the murder of Robert Brooks. He's interacted with them. For all we know, he may have, been friends or had a friendly relationship with them. Let's see what transpires here with the rest of his deposition. The body-worn camera footage of Sergeant Glenn Tromley starts out with Sergeant Tromley and Correction Officer Anthony Farina leaving the office and driving a New York State docks van to arrive at an outside location where other correction officers are present in the walkway. I observed Sergeant Tromley approach the correction officers near the sally port. What I mean by sally port is the dual fenced-in area at the entryway to the facility. The guards were on the interior side of the fence. I observed Sergeant Tromley and CO Farina walk up to the other guards where I observed a black male in a green state-issued shirt and green state-issued pants. The male was on the ground at the time. I observed correction officers pick up the male off the ground who was handcuffed with his hands behind his back. The hands of the black male were extended directly above his head as his upper torso was parallel with the ground. They continued to walk the male down the sidewalk and towards an open door of the infirmary. Pause. So just a quick reminder to everyone, this deposition is Special Investigator Paparella, who is reviewing what he saw on the body cam videos. This is not something that he witnessed directly. Back to the deposition. Sergeant Tromley and CO Farina approaches the location of the officers outside, and I observe the following correction officers present. Correction Officer Nicholas Kiefer, Sergeant Michael Mashaw, Correction Officer Robert Kessler and Correction Officer David Kingsley. Correction Officer Kiefer is observed shaking his OC spray canister in his right hand as the other correction officers walk the black male away from the area. As the footage continues and Sergeant Tromley appears to enter the facility, I observed him walk down the hallway towards an open door where other individuals are gathered. I observed CO Nicholas Kiefer exit the open door of the exam room. Also present in the hallway around open door threshold are CO Matthew Gallagher, Sergeant Michael Mashar, CO Christopher Walters, CO Michael Along, and CO Anthony Farina. It appears Sergeant Tromley then enters the examination room of the infirmary where CO David Kingsley, CO Robert Kessler, and CO Nicholas Anzalone are surrounding the black male identified as incarcerated individual Robert Brooks. And then we have something that was redacted. We see white space. So continuing, was sitting upright on the edge of the examination table with mechanical restraints applied to his hands in the rear. I then observed CO Christopher Walrath enter the room and Sergeant Mashar observing in the doorway. CO Nicholas Kiefer then re-enters the room and CO Gallagher posts up at the door threshold to view the activity within the room. CO Kiefer then exits the room and CO Walrath follows him out. CO Farina then enters the room as CO Kessler exits and CO Walters obtains gloves from inside the room. CO Kiefer returns to obtain a body-worn camera off the counter inside of the room near the door threshold. CO Angelone removes the shoes of incarcerated individual Brooks, who appears to be laying on his back on the exam table. Moments later, CO Angelone begins to strike incarcerated individual Brooks with his right hand as Sergeant Mashar and CO Gallagher look on. CO Michael Fisher and CO Kessler can be seen standing in the threshold looking on. CO Kingsley and CO Angelone can then be seen holding incarcerated individual Brooks in an upright sitting position, and incarcerated individual Brooks appears to be bleeding from the right side of his face. CO Gallagher then can be observed moving towards incarcerated individual Brooks, and CO Farina is observed lifting his left leg that makes contact with incarcerated individual Brooks' lower torso that appears to be near the genital area. CO Angelone then can be seen delivering a right-handed strike to incarcerated individuals Brooks. CO Walrath then can be seen grabbing what appears to be an incarcerated individual Brooks' left leg. CO Gallagher then appears to be moving away from the exam table, as CO Angelone and CO Kingsley appear to be using their hands to apply pressure to incarcerated individual Brooks' unknown upper body area. CO Kiefer then re-enters the room and is seen standing near the exam table with Sergeant Mashar. CO Kiefer and CO Kessler then exit the room again. CO Farina and CO Walrath are observed restraining incarcerated individual Brooks' legs and feet. CO Farina is then observed striking incarcerated individual Brooks with his left fist in the buttocks approximately 3 times. CO Angelone then can be seen giving incarcerated individual Brooks a sternum rub in the center of his chest. CO Gallagher then enters with leg irons and approaches the exam table, then applies the leg restraints to incarcerated individual Brooks' legs. CO Kingsley then can be seen with his right hand on the front of incarcerated individual Brooks' neck as he is laying on his back on the exam table with leg restraints and his hands in mechanical restraints behind his back as CO Gallagher and CO Mashar look on. CO Angelone and CO Kingsley then forcefully pull incarcerated individual Brooks to a seated upright position at the edge of the exam table. Incarcerated individual Brooks then can be seen speaking, and CO Angelone then delivers one closed fist strike to the chest of incarcerated individual Brooks. CO Kingsley steadies incarcerated individual Brooks as CO Anzalone obtains new gloves. CO Kingsley and CO Anzalone are observed grabbing incarcerated individual Brooks by the collar of his shirt and shoulder area, where he is then picked up off his feet and forced to the back right corner of the room. Incarcerated individual Brooks is observed being put up against the window shade, and CO Kessler, CO Shia Shaw, CO Michael Fisher, Sergeant Mishaw, and CO Gallagher look on. Sergeant Tromley then exits the room, and I observe medical staff, Abin Mahadevok, exit the medical office and enter the hallway. Pause. So a lot of people have had questions about this individual, Abin Mahmedovic. It seems to be that he was not an employee of DOCS. It seems to be he was an outside contractor, an outside nursing contractor. Continue with the deposition. Sergeant Tromley then walks to the main lobby desk of the infirmary where CO Kiefer, CO Walters, and CO Along are gathered. Sergeant Tromley then walks back towards the exam room, where Abedin is observed to be standing in the middle of the hallway outside of the exam room. As Sergeant Tromley approaches the open door, another medical staff appears to be standing next to Abedin. Sergeant Tromley then re-enters the exam room where CO Schaff appears to be washing his hands in the sink, and incarcerated individual Brooks still remains in the far right corner against the window shade. CO Kingsley, Kessler, and Anzalone appear to be pushing incarcerated individual Brooks into the wall. Sergeant Mishaw, CO Farina, and CO Fisher and CO Gallagher are still observed to be looking on inside the room. Sergeant Tromley then exits the room, and CO Walters can be observed standing outside the doorway looking in. Medical staff Abedin and the other male medical staff can be seen standing in the middle of the hallway. However, it is uncertain if they can see inside of the room. Sergeant Tromley then returns to the main lobby desk where CO Kiefer and Along still remain. Sergeant Tromley then returns to the exam room for another time, and it can be observed that incarcerated individual Brooks is on the medical exam table being treated by medical staff as CO Kingsley, Anzalone, and Kessler are surrounding him. Incarcerated individual Brooks is observed to be laying on his back on the exam table in his undergarments and shirts. It is uncertain if he is still in any restraints. Sergeant Tromley then returns to the lobby desk. Another body-worn camera footage was also reviewed. This footage was said to be from CO Michael Along's body-worn camera. I observed incarcerated individual Brooks to be carried into the infirmary by CO Kingsley, CO Kessler, and CO Anzalone. CO Kessler is located on the left side of incarcerated individual Brooks, holding his left wrist as incarcerated individual Brooks is handcuffed behind his back. CO Anzalone is located on the right side of incarcerated individual Brooks, holding his right wrist, and CO Kingsley is holding both of incarcerated individual Brooks' feet off the ground. The correction officers can be observed carrying incarcerated individual Brooks down the hallway towards the exam room. CO Walters, then Sergeant Tromley, is observed following the three correction officers into the infirmary. The aforementioned information was obtained while viewing the body-worn camera footage provided by the New York State Police as received from New York State Department of Correction and Community Services. I have reviewed this statement, and everything stated is the truth. Let me know in the comments section what you think about this deposition. Is there anything here that we have not focused on before? If you found value in this video, please like the video, share the video, and if you believe I've earned it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. My goal is to give you honest and direct feedback and dig deeper than what the mainstream media is telling you. Thank you, God bless, and take care.